Hello, this is Christian here, coming at you with a little guitar lesson. I'm going to go over a little bit of theory here. I want to talk about using sus chords and what they are in general. Now, this isn't necessarily for beginners. If beginners are interested and curious, obviously you can look into this a little bit. But I'm not going to talk a whole lot about finger placement or about beginner chords. I'm going to assume that you already know what those are, mostly associated with like your 8 common open chords. So I like to call your 8 most common, like E major, E minor, A major, D major, D minor, G major, and C major. Assuming you already know those basic open chords, we're not going to talk anything about sevens, minor sevens, or anything like that just yet. Going over just those where you have your basic 1, 3, and 5 in a chord, your 1 being your root note of whatever chord you're doing. No, baby! You smell good. This is my baby. She never stops crying. Every time she hears my voice. Anywho, using your basic 1, 3, and 5 in your chord, like if you're in G major, if you're doing a G major chord, your root note would obviously be G. That would be your 1. Whoever G's third is and whoever G's fifth is, that is the 2 notes you're using in your basic chord. G, B, and D in this case. All right. Talking about sus chords. Now, where does sus come from? It's short for suspended. Suspended means separate or away from, right? And it's mainly pertaining to 2s and 4s, all right? If you have a sus2 chord or a sus4 chord, you're taking that number in the scale and it's being included in the chord, but the reason why it's sus is because it's kind of ringing on its own, what I'd like to call heterogeneously, as opposed to the entire chord homogeneously blending together. You got this one note kind of colliding with it heterogeneously. So it's suspended away from the rest of your typical 1, 3, and 5 chord. All right. For example, like if I were to have G major, all the notes in a G major chord, as I've said before, G, B, and D. G would be your root note. B, wherever you have a B, would be your third. You could have a B there on the A string. You could have a B on the open B string. That would be your third, and then you have your fifth, which is D. You could have open D. You might even hold third fret on the B string to get a D. But any 1, 3s, and 5s in any order, any G's, B's, and D's in any order, and you'd have a G major chord. Okay? So if you were to do a sus4, which I believe we were talking about first before sus2s, it would be G's 4. Whoever G's 4 is, G's 1 is G. G's 3 in his scale, his major third, would be B, and G's typical perfect fifth would be D. All right, so you're adding his perfect fourth, or you're replacing your 3 with your 4 rather, because if you have 1, 3, 5, and 4, you would more so have an add 4, a G add 4, more than a G suspended fourth, okay? G suspended fourth is going to be 1 and 5 blending together homogeneously, and then you got 4 kind of suspended away from the chord on its own. So altogether you got 1, 4, and 5, as many 1s and 4s and 5s in whatever order you want, whatever octaves, whatever inversions you want to do of that possible. Those same notes will be what you still have. So G major, G, B, and D. Since the third is B, the major third, we're going to replace B3 with a 4 in G scale. Who's G's 4? 1, 2, 3, there's B. 4, a half step away from 3 is going to be 4, which in this case, starting from G, would be C. C is G's fourth. Okay, so we're going to replace all B's. There's going to be no 3s. We're going to replace all of our B's in a G chord, replace them with C. You could put one C, you could put multiple C's. It doesn't matter. We just want to keep 1 and 5. 1 is G, obviously, we're going to keep G. And our fifth is going to be D. We want to keep D. And as I said, the fourth is C. So now altogether we want to have G, C, and D to make a G sus4 chord. Okay. So in this case, I don't know if we're to do like open G. Okay. And I'm not leaving my B string open like such. I'm now doing a version where I'm putting a 5 on the B string, okay? And I don't want this 3 on the A string. Okay, what I'm gonna do is one of two options. I'm gonna mute it on purpose with my middle finger. And you're not even gonna hear that A string. Or I'm gonna actually replace that note, which is a 3, and I'm just gonna go a half step up to 4, which is C right there. So 3rd fret of the A string is gonna make C, which is your 4th note in the scale. And I'm gonna keep G on the bottom. I might rearrange my fingers a little bit. Instead of sliding my pointer finger up 1 half step, I might just kind of put my middle finger on the A string now. And my pointer finger, index finger, first finger, whatever you want to call it, on the E string 3rd fret now to still keep that G. So now altogether I got G, C, D, open, G, open, D, and G. So all you should have heard me name was mostly G's and D's, and there's 1 C in there. Again, doesn't matter if it's on a bottom octave, top octave, right? So now we got a little something like this. A little interesting sound depending on how you voice it, how you phrase it, the context you use it in a song. You know, you can make it sound real nice. You could put that C somewhere else, right? So like I said, you could mute that string, and you could put the C on the B string, which is, you know, B would be 3, so only a half step higher, 1st fret would be C, right? And I might do it this way, where I got G on the bass, A has an X on it, it's muted, open D, open G, C now on the B string, and G on the top E string as always, okay? So now I have a 1 mute, 5, 1, 4, 1, as opposed to what I did earlier, which wouldn't be incorrect necessarily. 1, 4, 5, 1, 5, 1, where the top higher octaves have more 5s and 1s, and the bottom octave has a 1 and a 4. So now I'm putting my sus4 on the bottom. In this variation here, I kind of just came up with having the sus4 on the top. Get that kind of sound. Now you could even just leave out the 2 bass notes altogether, and you could just have this, where you're not even playing the E string, you're not even playing the A string, you're just starting from the D string and going down. There's an interesting sound right there. Nice little pretty chord if you use some swells with it, or you might use some neck pickup with it. With some context, right? For a sound like that, kind of similar. But as I said, now your 4 is on the top. This would be a sus4 because I don't have any 3s present. I don't have any B's present in my G chord. This is all just G, by the way. You can do this with any chord, okay? Sus2s work the same way, where you're going to replace your 3 instead of with a 4. You're going to replace your 3 with a 2, okay? You're not going to replace it with a low 3. You don't want to come down a half step because then you got minor. You want to go another half step to a high 2. Okay, so now you got 1, 2, and 5. Your 1 and 5 always stay the same, right? You got 1, 3, and 5, you got a major chord, 1 low 3 and 5, you got a minor chord. If you got 1 and 5 with a 4 added in there, you got a sus4. You got 1, 2, and 5 with the 2 added, you got a sus2. Okay? If you got 1, 3, and 5 and you add 4, you got an add 4. G add 4. G was just an example. G add 4, right? You got a 2 in there, G add 2. Right? Again, you're replacing that 3 with a 2 or with a 4. It's a sus suspended, where you got this chord and then this note is kind of just suspended on its own. All right? So sus2s work the same way, where you have 3 and low 3 for minor, and then even lower for 2. You don't even have any 3s involved. Okay? Let's do another example where, like, you got D flat. Let's do something a little, where you need a bar chord and not so much in the open position. Right, so here's D flat major. And what I have scale degree wise would be 5, 1, 5, 1, 3, 5. There's only 1 3 present. The rest are a bunch of 5s and 1s. Well, I'm going to keep them the same, right? And I'm going to take this 3, and if I came down a half step like such, of course you got minor, right? Now it's 5, 1, 5, 1, low 3, flat 3, should I say, and 5. So now you got, is a D flat minor. In this context, it's usually C sharp minor that it's more so recognize. We won't go into why, but simply just taking that low 3 and you're coming another half step by leaving it open in accordance to your bar, if you will, right? And so you should only be holding, aside from your bar, you should only be holding 2 fingers on the D string and the G string, and that is an extra 5 and 1 is what you have. So beautiful sounding chord right there, used a lot. What you're gonna have is now altogether 5, 1, 5, 1, 2, 5. See this 2 sound instead of a 3, right? So you got a 2, then of course a 1, right? Your 1's already in the chord, so you only have a bunch of 1, 5s, and you have 1, 2 that's present in there. A bunch of 1s and 5s, the octaves don't matter, it's all the same notes. And then you got a 2 that's present in there, all right? So that's what you end up with, all right? So, and you can take that shape and move it around, of course, thankfully with the guitar and like piano or other instruments where you have to kind of change shape a little bit. It's the same intervals away, it's the same distance of notes, so you can literally just take that shape and move it, okay? So, this thing is still recording, right? Yeah, it's still recording, okay, cool. I was about to say I'm doing this all for nothing. Okay, so, what I wanted to bring up is we are familiar with, I would say, 4 typical bar chord shapes, referring to E major shape, E minor shape, A minor shape, and A major shape. Some of us advanced guitarists, what I like to call bonus points, because you could play any major chord or any minor chord in the world with just, honestly, with just those 2 shapes, E major, E minor, you can go anywhere. But without having to do a 4th interval or 5th interval jump, you could just switch shapes to your A shape, and that'll take care of any major chord or any minor chord you would ever need. A shape, A minor shape, E shape, E minor shape. And that's going to take care of any chord, just depends on where you go on that string, okay? What I like to call the rest of the 8 open chords in the bar chord shape bonus points, because it's going to be the same chord, just A, voiced differently, and B, somewhere else on the guitar neck, just with a different shape, all right? Like, for example, if I were to do F, here's F major, as a lot of us are familiar with. I might not be perfectly in tune. Close enough. Close enough. So, F major. In this case, I went ahead and I threw the 3 on the bottom with this clean tone. Sometimes you can get away with a 3 on the bottom. Some of you know. 3, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3. There's a lot of 3s in there. I just realized that. 3 different octave 3s, ironically. So, anyways, there's F major, and as a lot of you may recognize, this is the C shape, or what's referred to as the C major shape. Like if you were to do C major like this, open C, and you just take this and you come up a perfect 4th interval, you'd have to come all the way and bar the 5th fret. And then in accordance to that bar, or you could look at it like a capo, in accordance to that capo or that bar, you could do your C major shape, and you got F major, okay? I could do this F major chord, this literal chord, 1, 3, and 5, which is F, A, and C. I could take this and I can go over here and do an F chord this way. Okay, and that's the E shape. Okay, E shape F chord. Here's the C shape F chord. It's like I'm doing C, but you're literally just hearing F. If you were to close your eyes and hear it, you know, or any other instrument were to play along with you, it's literally just F major. And here's F major. It's voiced a little differently though. This one has a 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. This one is rearranged in a way where you have 3, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3. Okay, of course, some of you know where I'm going with this, right? You could do F major chord as an A shape. Kind of like you're to do A major, but you go up, what is that, a 6 interval? Yeah, minor 6 interval? Yeah. And you're gonna have, in the A shape, you'll have 5, 1, 5, 1, 3, 5. A lot of 5s in that one, that voicing there. Right? Whether you do, you know, arpeggios, whatever it might be. Okay? Same exact chord though, especially if you're just strum along with a band or strum along with some tracks or something. You got F major, right? Or you could have F major. And you can kind of hear that 3 voicing a little bit louder there. You got an F major here where it's a little bit more lower basser. We got some extra fives on the bottom. What shape am I leaving out? G. I do my G shape like this, right? So you could do F major up here, right? Where it's a little bit higher octave. You got some higher fives and ones, if you will. Anyways, you could do all 8 shapes in the bar form, causing it to be a different chord, obviously, as most of you already know. Now, where I'm going with that is when you go to do a sus4 or a sus2, okay? It works best in the A shape and in the D shape, okay? You can do it in the E shape, but you can't use the same string that your 3 is on, okay? If you want to use the same string that your 3 is on and turn it into a 2, you can only do it in the A shape and the D shape. Let me show you. So here's some kind of chord, as far as I'm concerned, some kind of major chord, because it's like I'm doing E major. I'm actually doing A flat major, but let's say I didn't even know that, right? I'm just doing some E major shape chord, all right? 1, no matter where I go, it's going to be a 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1. Starting from the bottom string, going to the top, okay? So here's where my 3 is. If I lower it by a half step, now I got a flat 3. Now I got a minor chord. Well, I want that flat 3 to go another half step lower to 2. Well, I can't. I'm already in the open bar position. I can't go any lower than that. So now, instead of using the G string, I got to put the 2 on the D string. I got to reach a little bit like this. Kind of like what, you know, people refer to as a 9 chord interval, because you got 1, 5, high 2, an octave higher 2, making it a 9 interval, right? Okay, so, but then you can't use your other, you can't skip and mute the G string. Again, you can use your pinky to kind of mute it a little bit and try to get that high 5 and that high 1 on top. You end up with that. You just can't let your G string ring because that's a low 3. You can't have 1, 5, 2, and low 3 on top of that. You're not going to want to hear that, okay? You can end up with that. Very interesting dissonance chord. But if you use your pinky to mute the G string and you lay real flat, you can maybe, it depends on the guitar, it depends on the action and your strength and etc. You can maybe get that sound. It might be considered a sus2 in there, where you're just using a 9 or a 2, some kind of whoever 2 is in that scale, in that chord, okay? What's more ideal is if you have like your A shape here, whatever chord this is. Again, it's D flat, but I don't know that, right? My 3 is always going to be what the pinky is holding if I do it this way. Some of you might do it with this double bar type idea. Yeah, you just have to mute that E string. You don't want a 6 on top, right? You want a 5 on top or nothing. Okay? So you're going to take that B string and come down a whole step, which happens to be what you're barring. So now you're only holding 2 spots. So instead of holding 3 spots for major, holding 3 spots for minor, you're only holding 2 spots for sus2. Like that, okay? You could use this figure to help bar, as you're familiar with, the E minor kind of shape. It's like you're doing E minor. You just take these 2 and you come down that way in one set of strings. Now you got sus2, okay? A sus2. Well, it's not literally A. Here's A sus2. But it's like A sus2 depending on where you go. In this case, like I said, I'm at D flat sus2. Okay, not quite major, not quite minor, because there's no high 3 or low 3 to give it away. Right? That high 3 or low 3 gives away if it's major or minor. If you just have a 2 instead, then you just got sus2, okay? If you do have a 3 present, you got a high 3 and a 2, now, like I said, you have D flat major, add 2. D flat major, add 4, if you do 4 instead, etc., okay? So, the A shape, it works best, and the D shape, because here's D minor, and you can actually take that note a half step lower to open. And that'll be 2, right? Of course, in literal D, your 2 is E, so you just leave your E string open, like that. You can take that shape and move it anywhere, right? So here's something, right? It's G, but let's say I don't know G, right? Here's something where I got 5, 1, right? Yeah, 5, 1, 5, 1, 3. 5, 1, 5, 1, low 3, flat 3 for minor. Here's G minor, right? It's like I'm doing D minor. Let me take that low 3 and go one more half step lower to open. Now I got 5, 1, 5, 1, 2, which is a whole step higher than 1. It's like I'm playing that note, but on the next string. Okay? So, You're literally just holding 2 spots again. Let me move this finger out the way. You're only holding 2 spots again, but in that D territory instead of that A territory. Okay, you're kind of down to that D-shaped territory, and you're just barring all the way down. You're going to leave your E string out. Actually, you know what? A lot of people don't know this or realize this. You could include your E string there. Why? Because typically you don't. That would be an extra 2, but hey, maybe you want 2 on the bottom. A lot of people don't realize that. So you have your D shape. And remember, whatever this E string is doing, on the same fret, this E string is the same pitch wherever you go. They're both open E. You go to the 5th fret, they're both A. You go to the 7th fret, they're both B. Right? 8th fret, they're both C. So if your 2 in the case of G, or your 2 is A, you're adding A to your chord, you can have A on the bottom. Now you got 2 in 2 different spots. Okay? So you typically wouldn't want it in your normal major chord, like if you do a G major like this, and you're adding a 2 on the bottom, that's what that becomes. You would have G major add 2 all the way on the bottom. Now it'd be nice to take this note and go a whole step lower right here, which is why some people do drop D tuning, but we won't go into that, all right? So in this case, you do want it to, maybe you want to voice it to where it's on the top, right? You might have something like, kind of arpeggiating it in my own little way, right? Where you got your normal 5th, your chord, and then a 2 on top, right? And you could put a 2 on the bottom, right? So you might want that sus2 sound on the bottom for tension purposes so that it resolves, right? It just depends. Depends on the context and how you use it, okay? So that's it. In summary, I mean, you know, you could argue that the C shape, maybe, like, let's see, you'd have to know where all your scale degrees are and realize that, okay, I got a 3, 1, 3. By the way, I'm going to do an E major chord, okay? So you're hearing a different context now. Your palette has to kind of be rewashed. So you got 3, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, okay? We don't want no 3s, we only want 2s, okay? So guess what? You can't play this E string, you can't play this E string, because you can't lower them either. So this is a 3 and this is a 3. We're going to leave those E's out. Other than that, we have, starting from the A string, we have a 1, 3, 5, 1. Now we only got 1 3 to change, that's right here. I'm actually just gonna go a whole step lower by taking them off altogether. And now on my D string, I have a 2. Okay, so this is kind of like the C shape, but I'm playing literally E major. All right, and now I'm gonna do E sus4 because I'm only gonna play the A string, the D string, the G string, and the B string. I'm not gonna play the E string because why? That would be a 3 on top. We don't want 3s. We want to do sus2, not add 2. All right, so what am I left with? That. Beautiful sounding voicing there. I love that sound. Especially if you swell it, or if you use, you know, some more higher up pickups, right? What I like to do is voice it where you hear that sus2, and then you go into a 3, which just makes it major, right? So you might have, where you get that sound on top of your 1, you still get that 2 singing, right? So cool. You could argue that you could do it in the C shape. You're just leaving out a bunch of other strings by doing that, right? Or your 2 outer strings, rather. You could mute your bottom E by using the tip of your finger, and you could just ignore your top E. You could just lay on top of it, right? And kind of like that. So now you got a sus2 in the C shape anywhere you go, right? But just know that your 1, whatever chord you're doing, is what your middle finger is holding, all right? In this case, it's holding a D. This would be a D sus2, right? Now it's holding E, so E sus2. You can add the 3. Now it's just E major. Now I can play all 6, honestly, because I have 3s in there anyway. But you're taking the 3s out. E sus2. Here's F sharp. Right, or G flat sus2, because it's not major or minor, right? We don't have enough context. If it's out of context, it could be either or. If you only have 1 and 5s and a 2 and a 4 in there, the 2 and 4s don't change. It's the 3 and the 6 and the 7s that change in the scale. All right, we can talk about that another time. But in summary, right, you can do these shapes. Let's see, G shape you can't do because your 3 is open. You can't go any lower. All right, your C shape, yeah, it's arguable. You just got to leave out a bunch of strings. Okay. What's easiest is your A shape. If you want to play all 6 strings, your A shape and your D shape. Actually, you can play all 6 because you can put a 2 on the bottom. If you want to voice it that way. A lot of people argue, no, your 2 has to be on the top for it to be a true sus2. You know, no. So, wherever you go on the A string, if you do your A shape, wherever you go on the A string, that's what chord you're doing. Okay, in this case, I'm holding, what is that, D flat? D flat, sus2. Alright. Now I'm doing G. G sus2, A sus2. Okay, let's do the D shape and mess with that a little bit. Here's what? E sus2, okay? I'm gonna go up a half step to F. Here's F sus2. Okay, G, etc. And you get these little pretty voicings. You might want to do major. And then you might want to go to a sus2. Supposed to have that idea of like a 5 chord that resolves to 1, but you kind of have that resolution sound on top of your tension so that it can resolve on its own in your head a little bit, that airy kind of sound, which is real good, really nice utilization in creative music. So, all right. I hope this video was at least a little bit helpful, if it even just helped one person out there somewhere in the world, or if, you know, anybody enjoyed this video at all and it was worth making. But this might be a little series I start kind of doing occasionally, so we'll see how it goes. Very little editing, mostly just raw basic lesson stuff to help people out, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in if you did, and I hope to see you next time. Other than that, good luck and keep playing, and I will see you in the next video. So thank you all so much.